A coalition of citizens concerned about imminent threats to democracy and human rights in Ghana is calling on Parliament to reject the proposed promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values bill. The bill, proposed as a private member's bill, was first introduced to Parliament in July 2021 and underwent its first reading in August. It has since been referred to Parliament's Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee. At a press conference earlier today, legal practitioner Akoto Ampal says the burden the bill imposes on the Consolidated Fund and other public funds constitutes a direct and gross violation of Article 108. Now, adding that, the group says the bill constitutes a flagrant violation of the rights and freedoms guaranteed under the Constitution.
As we have demonstrated, the bill constitutes an impermissible invasion of the inviolability and human dignity of the person, of freedom of expression and thought, conscience and belief, including academic freedom, of freedom of assembly, including the right to organize and take part in processions and demonstrations, of the right to protection against discrimination on the grounds of gender, race, ethnic origin, religion, creed, or social or economic status. These rights are at the very heart of our constitutional architecture. It is indisputable that without these rights, Ghana's democracy would be meaningless. It is accordingly our respectful view that any law that seeks to restrict and repress these rights in specific instances must meet the very high standard of necessity and reasonableness in the defense of life, property, the rights of others, public safety, or public health, or public interest. This the bill starkly fails to do. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, when all the fanciful justifications supposedly grounded in culture, tradition, and religion are stripped off their beguiling clothes and adornments, what is left of the high-sounding bill for the protection of proper human sexual rights and family values is an Orwellian nightmare fraught with stigmatization, bigotry, intolerance, repression, authoritarianism, violation of fundamental rights of LGBT persons and those who defend their human rights, false piety, cruelty, and lack of empathy for difference in our society. We urge that the bill, with respect, be firmly rejected by the Parliamentary Select Committee on Constitutional, Legal, and Parliamentary Affairs, and by Parliament as a whole. It has no place in our constitutional democratic republic.
Again, the coalition says the bill in its current state does not conform to the human rights charters, both within the sub-region and internationally, that the country is signatory to.
In essence, the provisions of the bill are so egregious in their violation of these fundamental human rights and freedoms that it beggars belief that they could be introduced as a bill in the House of Parliament. With all due respect, we consider it unbecoming of the Parliament of our Republic, one of the key pillars of our constitutional democracy, to initiate such a fanatical crusade of intolerance and extremism in the 21st century, in direct contravention of the provisions of our democratic constitution. Furthermore, this bill, which has been laid before Parliament as a private member's bill, in fact imposes a significant charge on the Consolidated Fund or other public funds. By the express terms of Article 108, however, a bill that does this cannot lawfully be introduced or acted upon by Parliament as a private member's bill. Accordingly, the introduction of the LGBTQ plus bill as a private member's bill in Parliament, irrespective of its merits or demerits, constitutes a direct and gross violation of Article 108A(2) and is therefore unconstitutional.
The group, however, proposes that the attention should be placed on addressing issues of teenage pregnancy and marital infidelity that they say undermine Ghanaian family values. Thus calling on Ghanaians to ask their representatives to reject the bill, describing it as dangerous.
Now, the bill again argues that LGBTQ plus activities threaten the heterosexual family unit as the foundation of society, and that permitting LGBTQ activities to flourish is a threat to society and even the human species. The proposers of this far-reaching claim, however, have not provided any data or evidence to suggest that there is such a threat beyond a resort to some dogmatic religious tenets and so-called Ghanaian family values. In our respectful view, any serious discussion of or concern for maintaining Ghanaian family values ought first of all to begin with addressing the rampant issue of pregnancy of young women and teenagers out of wedlock and their abandonment after the act by their male partners. That is one of the most critical acts that clearly undermine Ghanaian family values. Another rampant social activity that undermines the family as a unit and family values in Ghana are extramarital relationships. Yet, the apostles of Ghanaian family values are conveniently unconcerned about these manifest realities.
My colleague Maxwell Adbaba joins me on the line with more on this. Maxwell, let us know who these 18 high-profile individuals are. Maxwell, you have to unmute your device so we can hear you.
Yeah, Ernest.
Yes, I can hear you now. Tell us about the 18 persons who have come together proposing that the bill be rejected.
So the notable names on that list, we have lawyer Akoto Apaw, who just spoke. Our last recollection of him is when he was lead counsel to President Akufo-Addo during the 2020 presidential election petition phase. We also know of Professor Raymond Atuguba. Also on that list, we also have on that list Professor Audrey Gadjike. She's also on that list. We also have Professor A.C. Sipento, who is the Executive Director of TDD Ghana, who is also a signee to it. We also have quite a number of high-profile people, like you mentioned, on that list.
And Maxwell, we are learning of another memorandum from Human Rights Coalition, which has also submitted been submitted to Parliament.
Yes. So we have the Human Rights Advocacy Center. We also have ASPILA. We also have LGBT plus rights Ghana. We also have the Ghana Center for Democratic Development. They are amongst these human rights groups have actually come together to be part of this human rights coalition that also sent a memorandum to Parliament. So two memoranda you're talking about right now, one that has to do with prominent Ghanaians, and then the second one has to do with the Human Rights Coalition. And 9 different human rights groups are the ones that came together to send this memorandum to Parliament.
And what are their conclusions in the memorandum? And I'm talking about the coalition that has submitted its memorandum to Parliament. In brief, what are the issues that they raise?
Well, they say the bill is certain to negatively impact Ghana's reputation at the international level and have a direct, impact on its relationship with many foreign nations, as well as its ability to attract foreign aid, foreign investors, and tourists. They say the bill could be considered as support for state-funded discrimination. They also say that the bill is in direct conflict with a number of constitutionally protected fundamental human freedoms and rights.
Thank you very much. That's my colleague Maxwell Adwabda bringing us details of a memorandum submitted to Parliament on the anti-LGBTQ law. We'll bring you more on this in our subsequent bulletins.